Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. All right, it is the final hour. We kick it off right now on this Tuesday morning. Thanks for hanging out with us, whether you have been listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, or 790 AM, or online at sportstalk1051.com, or on your smart devices, like your Alexa device app. Video stream also up and rolling here. Big thanks for tuning in, however you're tuning in and wherever you are tuning in. We've got last call, I guess, kind of final hour here for you to send on over your Toyson Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday. What's grinding your gears? Also, what's a sports confession that you have? And your I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank. What you got? All right, send them on over. So if it's appropriate, we'll read it up on the air. We've got Express back at it tonight. Game 2, the Eau Claire Express. They opened up their season last night at Carson Park, falling to Fond du Lac, but they're back at it tonight at Carson Park against Fond du Lac. Midwest Family Broadcasting night. It's also Magnet Schedule giveaway night. So first pitch is at 7:05. Also have Brewers. They game 2 gets the Cardinals, 6:40 first pitch. Kyle Harrison going to be on the mound for the Crew. You can listen to that game again right here on the radio dials, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Coverage will begin about 35 minutes prior. We got the NBA playoffs. Knicks are going to the NBA Finals. They swept the Cavs last night, so they are awaiting the winner between the Spurs and Thunder. Game 5 of that series is tonight with 2 wins apiece for both those ball clubs. The Stanley Cup playoffs, if Vegas wins tonight, they will have swept Colorado. So we'll see if they move on to the Stanley Cup final. Carolina picking up an OT victory against Montreal last night, 3-2 to lead that series 2-1. Shout out to UW Milwaukee baseball, as RJ kind of mentioned a little bit in the previous hour. They punched their ticket to the College World Series. They're going to be facing number 4 Auburn on Friday. So UW Milwaukee. And we've had some good alums come from UW Milwaukee too. So just Dalton and such. So, UW Milwaukee back at the World Baseball or College Baseball Class. I was going to say World Baseball Class. College World Series. Did I just say College Baseball? Jeez. Slow it down. But College World Series. So, all right. Speaking of baseball here, we've got, again, Brewers with Kyle Harrison on the mound tonight. We've talked a lot about Brewers pitchers, whether it's been Kyle Harrison or Jacob Misiorowski this morning. But I want to talk a little bit about some of the position players and kind of give some cred to a couple of guys. And first off, let's give some cred to King Vaughn. Let's give credit to Andrew Vaughn. He's been playing very well since coming off of the injured list after his injury on opening day. Not a ton of power so far. He's only got 1 home run. But all he's been doing so far in his plate appearances since opening day, I mean, this season he's .333 with an on-base of a .424 and an OPS of a .934. Just that 1 home run, but he's swinging the bat really well as of late. Yesterday collected 3 hits against the Cardinals. And, I was one. Here's my sports confession. I was one that I was on the fence about Vaughn for this year. He was great for the Brewers once they acquired him. But I was kind of on the fence. I'm like, okay, is that something that's going to pick up this year? Is he going to pick up where he left off? Was that just kind of a flash in the pan sort of thing? And I got to hit my cap. So far, he's playing incredibly well. Now, got a lot of season left to go here. Things could change. And yeah, maybe you'd like to see a little bit more pop, a little bit more power in that bat. But I got to admit, He's doing better than I thought he was going to do this year. I get it's only 51 ABs in that, but we'll take it. We'll take it. So hopefully I continue to be wrong about Andrew Vaughn. It was, again, not to downplay what he did last year when the Brewers brought him over from the White Sox, and he was a highly touted prospect. But I was like, I didn't want to put all my eggs in the Andrew Vaughn baskets. But right now he's playing really well. So tip of the cap to him. And I kind of go with, I still think that what William Contreras is doing right now, how well he is playing right now, is kind of flying under the radar. At least maybe from a national perspective. Because all he's doing is hitting a cool 304. His on base is a 374, which is higher than his career averages. And his OPS is actually a little bit down. His OPS is a 782. He's a career 803. But 304 average, 4 home runs, 31 RBIs. And let's not forget what he does behind the dish. What he does with that young pitching staff. Now, every year before the season, Contreras in those preseason lists, those rankings, he's consistently up there, top 2, top 3. People know who Contreras is. People recognize his game. But even during the season, when he's putting up numbers like this and doing what he's doing with this young pitching staff, I still feel like he comes a little bit under the radar. And maybe I'm looking at it from an MVP perspective. Because if you look at the MVP odds, when we looked at him earlier in the program, I think it was in the first hour or so, he had the third best Brewer odds. Not third best in it, actually, third best Brewer odds. Terang was ahead of him, Cheerio was ahead of him, and then Contreras was in there. And they weren't up there. But I know it's hard for catchers now, which I don't quite understand. And you got Ohtani, which is just not fair to everybody else in the National League at this point. But it's kind of a weird thing with Contreras where he gets a ton of love and a ton of attention and a ton of credit, and rightfully so before the season. But as the season progresses and when he's playing well, I feel like people kind of forget about him from a national side of things. But right now, from a catching standpoint, when you factor in, I give him a ton of credit for what we're seeing with Jacob Misiorowski, for Kyle Harrison, a lot of these younger pitchers. I give him a ton of credit. And at the beginning of the year, there was a really good piece. I think it was done by Adam McCulvey from Brewers.com. And it talked about Contreras and how he works with this young pitching staff. And to have a guy like that behind the dish where maybe a younger pitcher doesn't have to overthink it, just trust the catcher. Trust your catcher. Trust what he's calling, what he's telling you to do. I think that speaks volumes in their development. We've talked a lot about Chris Hook and Jim Henderson and how the Brewers develop pitchers. But I think a piece that sometimes gets unnoticed or maybe doesn't get enough credit is what Contreras does with these younger pitchers and how he works with them. He has been in my opinion, a big reason we've seen this play from Misiorowski, from Harrison, from these bullpen arms that are coming in. He's been instrumental. He's been huge. And I do think he deserves to get some more love and appreciation from a national standpoint. He does before the seasons, but then it's like when the season starts, kind of forget about it a little bit. But Pat Murphy must have been in a really, really good mood entering on Memorial Day, entering the game yesterday. And I saw some of the clips and I saw some of the video, and Adam McCulvey kind of put it all in a post on Brewers.com. And if you didn't get a chance to see some of the quotes or see some of the liners, do yourself a favor and do it, or maybe even watch the videos. But as Adam noted, Pat Murphy is one of the few Major League managers who still invites writers, broadcasters, radio, and television stations into his office every day for an afternoon briefing. Many managers have moved those sessions to the dugout, where reporters strain to hear over the stadium music, and the aim is just to get it done. As McCulvey says, Murphy's sessions are more relaxed, if a little crowded. After the size of the assembled media corps forced a move to the Brewers' media auditorium over the weekend while the Dodgers were in town, reporters crammed back into the manager's office Monday morning. I still saw Murphy over the weekend, too. I love this. Newbies, got to introduce yourself to Murphy. As he says here, if Murphy doesn't recognize someone, he asks their name, even if that means delaying postseason press conferences. If a reporter is just hanging back and taking it in, Murphy demands a question. So, Pat Murphy said, I love this. This is like therapy to me. And Adam McCulvey went through some of these liners. He said, don't ask how he got on this topic, but the day started with Murphy's favorite Phoenix area diners. His all-timer was Munch-A-Mania, an understated joint in a Tempe strip mall that closed a couple of years ago after a quarter of a century of fresh soups and sandwiches. My kid would go in there at 5 years old, throwing the football over the counter, you know. You'd come out of there smiling like whatever they were cooking. Gosh, it was great. About Sal Frelick, he said, Frelick, who right now we know he's struggling a little bit, was out of the lineup only for the second time this season yesterday. Just a mental reset, Pat Murphy said. Quote, he hasn't had a day in a while, so we'll give him a day. He's one of our guys. I love Sal. I don't tell him enough. I should tell him way more than I tell him. I need to do that. Let me write that down. And if you watch the video, he wrote it down. He wrote, tell Sal, I love you, Sal. Then he goes, does Frelick need love right now? He said, quote, he's not produced the way he's wanted to produce, but it's not for a lack of effort. And sneaky, he has been clutch as all get out. And he's a tremendous defender, tremendous, and a tremendous kid, a winner. I have to tell him I love him. Not that he cares. Maybe I won't tell him. And then he crossed it off on his list. Like Murphy was in a mood yesterday. About Ms. Mania, quote, he's still a young pitcher and there's maturing to be done. He's been fantastic in so many ways off the field, on the field, in the clubhouse. He's really earned the respect of the people. And it's a lot on him. Pitching, as we know, it isn't just push button. You just don't go out and do it. So when he was asked about some of the things he must improve, the game will chew you up, Steve, who was the writer that asked him that question. Command is always going to be an issue for him, a guy who throws that hard and the size of his levers and all of that. There's a couple more things on there that if you wanted to read, but he did also get a little serious and said there is some concern for Logan Henderson dealing with a back issue. He said that, quote, I think we're monitoring that closely. I don't think it's any different, but there's reason for concern. So we're going to keep a very close eye on him the next few days. And he's supposed to start tomorrow. He's supposed to start Wednesday's game, but we'll see if that's going to be the case or not. And obviously we don't want to see that because right now, you've got Miz, you've got Harrison and Logan Henderson, those top three. And whenever Brandon Woodruff comes back, and hopefully it's soon, I know he just had another bullpen session. Hopefully we'll get those four. And then everything else can kind of fall into place after that. I know Sproat, a little bit of a hiccup the other day, but you get those four in the rotation here of Woodruff, Henderson, Miz, and Harrison. That's a four you can roll with. And you have some flexibility with that fifth starter. All right, let's take a quick break. Let's do a little grind my gears. Coming up after these few words. What's the latest and greatest at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire? Well, you should check out their flyer that they got up on their Facebook page. We're talking $2.98 Jack's Pizzas, loading up the deep freezers for some quick meals, especially if you've got Little League or softball or any summer sports going on. How about $4.59 for a 50 count of pizza rolls? Oh, yeah, those are always big, too. $1.68 a pound for Cosmic Crisp apples. Those are huge in our house, too. So, what else do we got? Holy moly, we got 2 for $5. Hy-Vee Midwest pork, boneless pork loin, butterfly, or America's cut chops. Heck yeah. We've got $5.99 a pound Hy-Vee boneless, skinless chicken breasts or tenderloins on there. $2.99 for some General Mills cereals for the kiddos. Maybe some of them are out of school or getting ready for summer vacation. Breakfast, load up the pantries with a bunch of cereal on there, or snacks like some Cheez-Its and Chex Mix that are also on sale for this week. Oh, it's a little hot out, right? They got $5.99 Blue Ribbon Classic novelties or frozen dessert. We're talking like ice cream, $5.99 a gallon. That's a heck of a deal, too. So $1.49 Hy-Vee potato chips for some quick snacks. Again, you could check out the entire flyer and all the latest sales and deals going on at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. Don't forget, when you shop at Hy-Vee, you can also save at the gas pump with their fuel perks. So, for my Toys and Ford to grind my gears, and again, I get it. It's early in the season. Okay, I understand that. But I think my grind my gears is more so from, I think we got to get some more love for William Contreras. Again, from a national perspective. I get it. You know, you talk about the MVP race. It's only 31% through the season here. But it's you don't hear his name, and Ohtani's probably going to win it. But you don't even hear Contreras' name mentioned, which I think that's kind of disappointing. I'm probably going to go with that. It's grinding my gears that Contreras from a national, and maybe I'm missing it, but you don't hear his name mentioned too much about one of the National League's best. You know, National League, look at this guy, what he's doing here for this team. Look what he's doing this season. And maybe that's just because Contreras has set, again, the bar high, that it's kind of to be expected. Yeah, he's doing what we expected. Maybe. We had a texter saying, what grinds my gears is combined no-hitters. Are we really in the era where we're praising and acknowledging combined no-hitters rather than one pitcher getting a no-hitter? I'm assuming that's with the Astros no-hitter. What's going to be... How do I want to phrase this? You know, now it's it's becoming more rare to see starting pitchers just get complete games. Are we going to kind of maybe start to praise those more just because it's becoming more rare of starting pitchers having these complete games, or even like a complete game shutout? This is, what is it? Yeah. Oh, MLB.com ranked the combined no-nos. Yeah. Brewers is on there for that Corbin Burns, Josh Hader. 22, or they didn't rank them. They looking back at Major League Baseball's 22 combined no-hitters. I thought they ranked them, but no. Okay. They've got, Burns was just about untouchable in his September 11th start against Cleveland, racking up 14 strikeouts and allowing just one base runner on a sixth-inning walk. After a career-high 115 pitches, Burns gave way to Hader, who needed just 9 pitches to add 2 more strikeouts to the combined line and complete the second no-hitter in Brewers history. That's it. There's a lot of things changing in the pitching game. or for baseball in the pitching world. I'm really curious if we get to 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, whatever it is, what is pitching going to look like at that point? What are we going to be praising? What are we going to be acknowledging? When a pitcher does this, like 15, 20 years from now, considering how much it's changed, we're acknowledging combined no-nos. And we got pitchers that if they go a complete game, it's pretty rare. If they go to the 7th or 8th inning, it's like, wow, that's really rare. I'm really curious, 10, 15 years from now, how do we view starting pitching? What are we acknowledging? What are we praising? What's kind of that new, I don't know if benchmark's the right word, but what's kind of that new level going to be where, hey, that dude went 6 innings. That's a great start. Are we getting to that point where it's just getting a starter through 6? Or are we just not going to have prototypical starting pitchers anymore, and every pitcher is going to go out there for 3 innings, and that's how it rolls? That's probably traumatic. Can't see that really happening, but gosh, I don't know what the world of pitching is going to look like in 15, 20 years. How different is it going to be? Long gone are the Nolan Ryan days, those, or even, those horses that would just eat up innings, rack up wins. I'm not going to see another pitcher get 300 wins. So what's the new benchmark for that? Like in NFL, there's always a benchmark for running backs to get 1,000 yards. And I feel like that's not as much anymore. So maybe is it like 1,300, 1,400, 1,500? Receiving, is it kind of the same, 1,500, 1,300, 1,400? We just kind of up it up every year in the NFL passing yards, right? It's like, hey, you got to get over 4,000. And this was kind of, and I know it's different eras, but there was something I saw over the weekend that somebody was trying to debate that Elway, I'll just kind of paraphrase it, kind of downplaying Elway's career. And they use stats and numbers. And yeah, when you look at it, comparing it to today's game, they're not great. You look at the touchdown to interception ratio. Let's just go in order from his rookie year to his final year. First number will be touchdowns. Second will be interceptions. 7-14, 18-15, 22-23, 19-13, 19-12, 17-19, 18-18, 15-14, 13-12, 10-17, 25-10, 16-10, 26-14, 26-14, 27-11, 22-10. If quarterbacks put those numbers up in today's era, they're probably not a starter or won't be for very long. But that, again, different era, right? He threw for over 4,000 yards one time in his career in 93 when he was 33 years old. Now that's like the benchmark for quarterbacks. I mean, could you imagine if Jordan Love put up numbers, 16 touchdown passes, 10 interceptions, heck, even 26 touchdown passes, 14 interceptions? Packers fans would have a heyday against that. And who was it? Dare I say, was it Skip Bayless that said this, or was it Colin Cowherd? I know I'm getting off on a tangent right now, and I don't know if this was recent or not. It just showed up in one of my feeds. The worst thing going for Jordan Love right now is Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Bart Starr, all those other guys, because they've just continued to set the bar so incredibly high, and I could not agree more. But going back to, like in football, we talk about 1,000 yards rushing. That's gotten up to, okay, like now the bare minimum's maybe 13, 14, 15. Same for receiving. Passing yards, 4,000. I'm really curious to see baseball-wise, from a pitching standpoint, do we lower it if a pitcher gets to 200 career wins? It's like, oh, yeah. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what it looks like in 15 years. All right, let's take a quick break. Back with plenty more coming up after these few words. Packers begin OTAs today, so if you've got social media feeds and you follow the Packers and that, you're going to be seeing a lot of probably photos and clips and overreactions to OTAs because it's May 26th. I love football. I love the Pack. It's also May 26th. And I'm not going to overreact to how a player looks in OTAs. The only thing I will overreact to is if somebody gets hurt. That's the only thing. I think that's the only thing I would overreact to. If somebody gets hurt at OTAs. Other than that, no deep diving into what Matthew Golden looked like or Jordan Love in an OTA practice on May 26th or 27th or 28th or whatever it's going to be. But it's a start. It's a step in the process, right, of getting to training camp and preseason. We still got 2 more months to go before we get there. Still got 2 more months. But I'm sure there's going to be some that are going to be excited, going to be pumped to see some of the rookies with the veterans, and just seeing a little bit of clips of the green and gold getting some work done. Just don't get hurt. That's the main thing. Don't get hurt. Youngsters, do your homework. But I think it's kind of a big OTA. I'm not going to say big because I think that over-dramatizes it. But with a new defensive coordinator, with a new special teams coordinator, hopefully attendance is good. That's going to be another thing that's probably going to be overanalyzed a bit. But you'd like to see good attendance. All, if not all, a wide majority of them, close to being a perfect 100% attendance. So guys can get in, familiar with Jonathan Gannon, familiar with some of their new position coaches, familiar with special teams. And if Matt LaFleur, what he said was true, that kind of redoing the offense a little bit, yeah, you'd like to see those guys, the players, be nearly 100% participation. And if somebody's not there and it's not injury related, that's probably going to be overanalyzed and scrutinized too. Is it a contract issue? Is he not happy? Fans are going to get, going to pick sides, and then they're going to call out a player. They're going to call out a team. This, that, the other. The one player that I could see, now this might be more training camp, and maybe he's not there. I don't know, because I know he was there last week. But Christian Watson. I know there's a lot of people that said they would be surprised if they saw Christian Watson report to camp and practice at camp without a new deal. And it's a business thing, and some people are going to be like, hey, dude's been hurt too many times. He doesn't have a right to do that. Or, you're going to have others say, yeah, he's smart, cash in on what he kind of did in the second half of last year and get that long-term extension. Let's face it, it's a biz. It's a business, and he has the ability to do that if he so desires to do that. But that's going to be more of a training camp and preseason thing, I believe, unless he's not there and such. But, yeah, that'll start today. So if you see some Packers stuff out there, you'll know why. You'll know why. But, again, Brewers, they're back at it tonight, game 2, 6:40 first pitch. Kyle Harrison on the mound. Jacob Mizrowski has really set, to quote Michael Jordan, the ceiling is the roof. He's kind of really set the ceiling or set the bar up higher and higher every time he has gone out. And then you have Kyle Harrison that has been following him, and then he goes out there and sets his bar or ceiling just a little bit higher. What these two have done so far this year for the Brewers, has been remarkable, and you just knock on wood. Hopefully they can stay healthy. I saw a graphic earlier this morning. It was like 4-something in the morning when I was looking up some stuff. You look at the records now compared to last year at this time, and Brewers were they a couple games under 500, I think, at that point, and now they're 11 games over 500. They're 31-20. So again, for those of you who are in the crowd of it's too early, you can look at that graphic. You can look at that number and say, hey, look at what the Brewers did last year compared to what they're doing this year. And you would be exactly correct. Last year, the Brewers were around 500, under 500 on Memorial Day weekend. And they end up setting a franchise record in wins. And this year, they are way past that pace from last year. A lot of different things could happen. I think the one team that had the same record was the Dodgers. I'll have to see if I can find it during the break here again. You want to talk here? Okay, so we were talking about pitching and kind of some of the trends here. This is kind of an interesting number. Percent of all MLB pitches thrown at 98 or higher. 98 miles per hour or higher. So far this year, it is the highest. Probably doesn't surprise a lot of people, but just kind of seeing the trend. So this is from Codify Baseball. 2008, that number was 0.5%. Okay, again, this is percent of all Major League Baseball pitches thrown at 98 miles per hour or higher. 2008, 2.5%, just under 20 years ago. Not that long. And it's at 3.8 now. A 3.3% difference. And it has climbed. Went from 0.5 to 0.8 to 0.9 to 0.8 and 11, 1, 1.2, 1.7, 1.9 in 2016, then a little bit of a drop, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.7 in 2020. And then in 2021, it went up over 2 and never looked back. 2.1, 2.7, 2.9, 2.6, 3.6 last year, 3.8% this year. Goes back to this topic that has been out there for the last couple of years, last few years, where teams, it feels like, or pitchers are really focusing on heat and gas and miles per hour and maybe not necessarily accuracy and control and that they want the power. They want the gas. Rack up those miles per hour. You look at those numbers, it's like, sure seems like it. How about 97 miles per hour? So just put it down 1 miles per hour, 97 or higher. It's 22.6. 2008 was 4.7. This year, it's over 22.6. Talk about a huge difference. And this was an interesting one, too. This was actually from a few days ago from Codify. MLB teams hitting under 250. Under 250. In 1999, there were zero teams hitting under 250. Think about that. 1999, zero teams hitting under 250. 2026, 25. 25. From 98 to 2009, the most was 5 teams in 2002 that hit under 250. 2010, it went up to double digits. 10, 11, 12, 13, 13, 12, 16, it dropped to 9. 11, 16, 16, 18, 25, 20, 16, 24, 19, 25. These are some interesting numbers. We've got, here's a Jacob Mizorowski one they just posted a few minutes ago. Most 101 mile per hour pitches thrown by an MLB starting pitcher in one regular season for the entire pitch tracking era. Okay? Entire pitch tracking era. The most 101 mile per hour pitches. Let's go from the bottom up. Jacob deGrom in 2021 had 27. That's 6th. 5th, Jordan Hicks, 2022, 31. Hunter Green, 2025, 32. Jacob Mizorowski last year, 64. 2022, Hunter Green had 106. Mizorowski this year already has 173. He already has 173 pitches where they have been over 100 miles per hour. A starting pitcher. They put up another graphic here, too. It's a picture graphic, okay? It's kind of almost a magic eye here. The 180 fastest pitches thrown by a Major League Baseball starter this year. Well, let's just say let me see if I can do some quick math here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 different ones. It's literally just their headshots, so maybe 8. Don't quote me. So 180 minus 8 is so 172 of them have been, 173 of them have been by Jacob Mizorowski. Insane. That's insane. All right, let's take a quick break as we start to wrap up. Oh, we will wrap up. Final segment. We got some picks. All right. Brewers, Cardinals, who are we rolling with? Will the Vegas Golden Knights sweep the Avalanche tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs? And who wins a pivotal Game 5 between Spurs and Thunder? We'll make those picks and more coming up after these quick words. All right, wrapping it up here this morning. Let's do some picks. Only got a few minutes left. Let's run through this. I'm going to go with the Thunder to get the win tonight in Game 5 between Thunder and Spurs, and I'm going to go with the Avalanche to pick up a win. It's do or die for them, man. So let's do baseball then. We got Washington at Cleveland. Give me the Guardians. Tampa Bay, Baltimore. Griffin Jacks. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. We got Angels, Detroit. Yikes. Somebody got to win. I'll go Detroit. Cubs, Pittsburgh. Cubs riding this 9-game losing streak. I'll go that. I'm going to go with the Cubs getting a win tonight. Atlanta versus Boston. Give me the Braves. Miami and Toronto. I'll go with Toronto. Cincinnati and the Mets. I'm going to go with the Reds. Twins, White Sox. Joe Ryan, Schomburg. I'll go Twins tonight. Yankees, Royals. I'm going to go with the Yankees. Houston versus Texas. I'll go with the Rangers. Philadelphia and the Padres. San Diego Padres. Philadelphia picking up a 3-0 win last night. I'm going to go with the Padres bouncing back tonight. We've got Mariners taking on the Athletics. I'm going to go with the Athletics. Arizona. The Diamondbacks taking on San Francisco. Let's go with the Giants. And Colorado taking on the Dodgers. I'll go with the Dodgers. And then finally, Brewers, Cardinals. Kyle Harrison. Michael McGreevy. I'm going to go Kyle Harrison, the Brewers, picking up the win and securing at least a series win and putting themselves in a position to get the sweep, hopefully, for tomorrow. Again, you can listen to that game, 6:40 first pitch. Coverage begins on your radio dials, 105.1 FM and 790 AM at about 6:05 tonight. You also have the Eau Claire Express in action tonight, Midwest Family Broadcasting nights, Magnet schedule giveaway night. First pitch against Fond du Lac is going to be at 7:05 this evening. And then the Express will hit the road for a few days where they'll be taking on Rochester starting tomorrow. And on Thursday, Thunder Bay, Friday and Saturday, they will be back home for Sunday to have a 2-game series with Thunder Bay. And then Madison in a home and away. And then they go on a little bit of another road trip there with Duluth and Bismarck and Wilmer. And then they're home for a few days too. So, all right. 2 minutes left. Let's look ahead to tomorrow. Making a turn Wednesday, right? Your Am I Wrongs. Your Mike Star Market, Am I Wrong? Think about that. Give me your picks for tomorrow. We'll do a little inside the hobby. Participation points again if you want to win. We had Tim and Rando picking up their swag from last week from participation, so it's a legit thing. They just picked up a bag full of swag. Tomorrow we're going to do some more participation giveaways, including cards and more swag. All right, so give me your Mike Star Markets. Am I wrong? We'll do some Hy-Vee game changers, and maybe we'll do a little, we will do a little inside the hobby coming your way tomorrow as well. Hopefully we're talking about a series win for the Brewers and previewing a potential sweep for the Brew Crew going up against the Cardinals. We'll see if Logan Henderson makes that start. I'm going to say he doesn't. I think a lot's going to depend on how this game goes today. I think if the Brewers win today, they may just kind of maybe do a little bit of a bullpen type of game, because when we look at the schedule coming up here too for the Crew, let me bring it up here. You've got St. Louis. You have the off day on Thursday when you travel to Houston, so I can see that playing out. All right, that's going to do it for us. Have